I just feel proud of myself, you know. If I wasn't going to do it, who would?
Living in Broome, Caitlin Rowe never guessed the complaint she raised in 2019 would resonate across the nation. Then, just 21, the young mum feared she'd go to jail when she was pursued by debt collectors over her $2,200 phone bill.
I was struggling to pay for rent, get food for my daughter.
Living on welfare, Caitlin had been paying up to $200 a month for her phone, but excess data charges made her bill rise astronomically.
They did not tell me that if I used the data more, it was going to get higher and higher. I'm not a person to really ask for help. When that bill came to me, I was like, nah. You know, that's when I realised I needed help.
Hey, Caitlin.
After months of struggling to pay her bill, Caitlin found a way out after meeting Broome financial counsellor Alan Gray. He'd been seeing similar problems among his other clients.
There was a recurring pattern where somebody would wander into the Broome Telstra store and all they wanted was a $50 flip phone or to get their cheap phone repaired. But the sales staff would stitch them up for a 2-year contract, $200 a month, and then a month, 2 months later, they get this horrendous bill in the mail. It makes a big difference in people's lives.
Yeah. Getting told that I wasn't the only one going through that same situation was, you know, weight lifted off me.
And the problem was even more widespread.
I bumped into a worker who worked in the remote APY lands north of South Australia. She worked out of Alice Springs. And Zenny told me that exactly the same problem was happening through the APY lands. It never occurred to me that Telstra were ripping off Indigenous customers in other outback areas as well, and not just Broome. And then I realised it was a national problem. I wanted to include your community on the list.
A small group of financial counsellors began documenting the Telstra debts among their clients and lodged a complaint with the consumer watchdog. In a rare move, the ACCC confirmed an investigation as Caitlin's story was about to be broadcast nationally on the ABC.
It was an extensive investigation, but one that we think it was just so incredibly important given the dreadful nature of the conduct.
The results of the ACCC's investigation were damning. It found sales staff at 5 Telstra-branded stores signed up 108 customers to mobile contracts which they did not understand or couldn't afford between January 2016 and August 2018.
The enormous stress and worry this unconscionable conduct had on people right through the outback, it's hard to imagine unless you're sitting with the clients and you realise that the debt collectors from Telstra and the lawyers for Telstra are hammering you for the largest amount you've ever owed in your life.
Among those interviewed by the ACCC's investigators, the average debt was almost $7,500. One person had a Telstra debt of almost $19,000. About a third of the people interviewed were here in the Broome region.
The reason people sign up is because they had no idea what they were signing up to. They didn't understand the obligations they were under that contract. They didn't understand just because they'd gone out bush for a couple of weeks, if it was still on roaming, they're going to be charged.
Karadjari Yaru traditional owner Trudy Ridge says it wasn't easy for people to speak up about their financial problems.
It's about not understanding, and it's the absolute shame. And you're going to look at me as if I'm an idiot, and I don't want to feel like that. I feel silly enough.
In November last year, Telstra agreed it had acted unconscionably and that it would pay a penalty of $50 million. Today's court judgment rubber-stamped that penalty.
First and foremost, it's actually putting it right for these customers. Secondly, it's about changing our plans in the future to mitigate the risk of this occurring again. We've updated our cultural training. We've also taken in-house our licensee stores.
I think that was the best move I've done. Speaking up for everyone and being the youngest out of everyone that, you know, does have their bills and struggling to pay for it or speak up and go and get help.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.